Hey everyone, in this tutorial we're going to take a look at how to export a refined head mesh from Character Creator to Blender for normal texture baking. If you are concerned about computer performance or want to minimize waiting time, you may want to consider using a low poly model like the one I have here. You can smooth out the mesh using the various tools in the Refine Mesh step to optimize the appearance before export. When you're ready to export your CC3 Plus character, in the export settings you can select from High Poly Mesh in the Normal section to bake a more detailed normal texture for our lower poly model, which is quite useful. However, you also have the option to bake textures in other software as well, which is what I'm going to show here with Blender. In Headshot, once you're satisfied with your results and wish to export your refined mesh, click on the Save button at the top left and select a folder that you want to export everything to. Once export is finished, you'll see a number of OBJ, MTL, and INI files, in addition to the source low poly model. Okay, so we've got all of our exported materials ready. Let's look at how to bake the normal map in Blender. We'll want to start off by importing the aforementioned 03refinemesh.obj into Blender first, and then proceed to import in the high poly source model as well. If you enable wireframe from the viewport overlay menu, you can see the major difference in topology between the two models. Let's start off by hiding the source mesh and selecting our refined mesh. In the modifier properties, you'll want to add a multi-resolution modifier. From there, you can hit subdivide multiple times to increase the subdivision level. Here I'm hitting it 4 times, but be aware that higher subdivision levels will require more processing power. The next step is to add a shrink wrap modifier to the same mesh in order to wrap it to the high poly model to get the details. Choose Project for wrap method and ensure the negative checkbox is enabled. Then choose the 00 source mesh as the target. Once we do that, we can see that the details were successfully transferred to our subdivision level 4 mesh. You can see the difference when we adjust the level viewport value from 1 to 4. If everything looks good, go down and select Apply from the Shrink Wrap Modifier menu. Once the modifier is applied, we can then right-click on the model and select Shade Smooth to smooth the surface. From there, we can go into UV editing mode to check the results of applying the Shrink Wrap modifier. It looks good, so let's go into shading mode and click New to create a material for our model. From there, you can hit Shift A and add an image texture node. If you want to see the normal map results in Blender, you can also add and link a normal map node as well. Let's name our image texture node Normal and set it to a 4K resolution. You also want to deselect the alpha checkbox and switch color space to non-color since we don't have any color data in our normal map. From there, ensure the normal node is selected and go up to Render Properties and change the engine to Cycles. In the Bake section, be sure to check Bake from Multi-Res and choose Normals as the bake type. After that, we can go ahead and click on Bake to bake our normal texture. Once it's done baking, you can preview the normal map in the Image Editor window. Use the Control Space hotkey to maximize the window for a better look. After that, go ahead and save it, and then we can move back to Character Creator to finish generating our character and replacing the normal map. Back in the Headshot workflow, let's click on Attach to Body to finish generating our complete CC3 Plus character. Since our source mesh here is low poly, ensure that From Source Mesh is selected for baking our diffuse and normal maps to speed things up. Once the character generation is finished, you'll notice that the normal map results are less than ideal, so what we can do then is replace the normal map with the one we created from Blender. To do so, go into the Modify panel and under the Material tab, ensure that you select the Standard Skin Head material under the CC Base Body Mesh. In the Texture Settings section, I'm going to go ahead and delete the current bump map and replace it with the one we generated from Blender. Be sure here to select normal when prompted. After that's done, you can see that the normal results are now, well, normal. With the bump map texture selected, you can then adjust the strength slider to whatever you like to make the normal effect softer or more pronounced. That's all there is to it. Headshot 2 provides you with the option to utilize other software to bake your higher resolution texture maps and import them in after the head generation process is complete to save time and provide more flexibility. That's it for this tutorial, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.